This is a quick tour of the PatternDNA application. Upon loading, you'll be greeted with a chart in the main window, the right of which is a highlighted area of 5 days. This is the selected pattern, which also appears in the top left. You can see each of these candlesticks is represented by a letter, and the characteristics of this letter are defined by the action of the trading day. You'll also see the number of matches found for this pattern, and these matches represent the number of matches in this list of default stocks, 18 stocks for basic member users. You can also view these stocks in the list results. So by clicking that button, you can scroll down each stock and you can see in green which patterns, which matching patterns generated a profit, and the red which ones generated a loss. To the right of that, you can see some short-term statistics based on these 18 stocks over the past year. You can see that in 54% of cases, one day after the pattern completed, the stock closed higher. 2 days later, you got a 50% higher close, and 5 days after that, you got a 46% higher close. To the right of that again is a slightly more extended trading sample, which uses target and stops. And again, for basic members, you have one default, which uses a initial target of 15% and a stop of 10%. And what happens is that once the stock gains 15%, a trailing price kicks in. And when the trail kicks in, it updates at every 10% subsequent gain, and the stop is adjusted again to just 5% at each of those 10% levels. Of course, to stop a perpetual loop of this, there's an endpoint profit target of 25% where the position is exited after a 25% gain after the pattern completes. So you can see how this return data is represented here. We compare it to a buy and hold average. In the case of risk, there's a measurement from very low to very high. Anything above very high is a 20% or more drawdown. And drawdown is how we measure risk here. And then it scales down below that. We have the win percentage. In the case of buy and hold average, it assumes that in each of these days a trade is entered, and the price is then compared to the closing price of the last day. And if the last day is higher than this data, it's a profit, and if it's less, it's a loss. And we do that for all 18 stocks over the past year, and we find that 56.5% were winners, and the average profit for the winner was 9.6, a loss of 4.5 with a return of 4.2. In the case of the pattern, we have a 56% win percentage with an average profit per trade of 8.3, a loss of 5.5, and a return of 1.5. And this return is slightly different in that it's calculated from the assumption that you can take every trade, and it's a cumulative rollover over this look-back period. You can also, premium members have the ability to actually select their own patterns, and they can do that either by left-clicking and dragging the mouse. And you see as you select the pattern, it comes up selected here. And again, you have up to 10 characters, and for this we've got a very strong match selected, so there's only 20 matches altogether. But you can see here how the returns have improved for this given pattern that you selected. You can also save this pattern, so you can give it a name. And it will appear in a drop-down menu here. If you wish, you can delete patterns too, or you can try your own, create your own patterns directly using the letters. And as a summary guide, A, B, C, D, and E are bullish patterns, F, G, H, I, J are bearish, and X, Y, Z are neutral. So again, if you just try to create your own patterns, the data will automatically update. This is obviously not a very good pattern, certainly for a long side, maybe a short opportunity, but you have the flexibility to change the patterns to suit whatever you need. And that's it, the quick summary.